Hey everybody, I'm Patrick with GoSun, and today we're going to be comparing solar ovens in a brilliantly bright sunny day, mixing up a batch of corn muffins for each of these ovens and seeing what happens. All right, that's set up, and now I'm going to zip that shut. Next is the Parabolic Dish. That's pretty easy. Ooh, gotta watch out. And then I've got to arrange the sun on the bottom of the pan. I think that's good. Lock this guy. Next is the HotPot. I love the simplicity of this oven. Boom and boom, that's done. Next is the GoSun oven. Ooh, that's getting nice and warm already. Next is the GoSun Fusion. Okay, that's all done, that's easy. Finally, the GoSun Sport. Done. All right, we'll see how these go. We'll check every 15 minutes and see how the cook time's going. It's been about 15 minutes, so we're gonna do our first check here. It's definitely warm, and we'll do a quick toothpick test. All right, it's getting there. Put the lid back on and let it keep going. This SolSource, this thing is hot. Getting there. I'm guessing this is burning a little bit on the bottom. This would be a good time to adjust our angle. There's no sun immediately, so hopefully I got that right. Can't tell unless you have bright sun. The HotPot. Not there yet. The GoSun oven, advanced box cooker. These things are cool. Giant reflector. The problem is that as heat is accumulated, it also rises out this glass just as fast, so you lose your heat pretty quickly. And certainly not done. GoSun Fusion. You know, getting there. Uh-oh, the GoSun Sport. This is exciting. 15 minutes, done. Okay, so the GoSun Sport wins. It's a quick one, but we're just gonna go ahead and leave it in just to show what would happen in the same amount of time in the Sport compared to some of the others. So the Sport wins. We knew that it was a very fast oven. It's got a nice concentration ratio of about 4 to 1. Not a ton of energy is needed to heat it up. And what's neat about the Sport, and both of the GoSuns, the vacuum tube is such a great insulator that it's never hot on the exterior, so we don't have to worry about burning. All the heat stays on the inside, and it's super well insulated. Moisture's trapped, and so this is gonna stay hot and juicy for a long, long time. We're gonna see what happens over the next hour or two. While the other ones finish the job, we're gonna see what happens to the Sport as it gets the chance to continue to cook. It's been about a half an hour, and we're getting ready to check the Sunflair panel cooker, and it's looking good. You know, it's a little soggy. The SolSource, ooh, I can hear some crispiness down in there. Okay, it's a little soft here and there, but on the bottom, I think that's definitely done. I can smell that burn. Let's go ahead and maybe we'll get lucky and be able to flip this flapjack. Okay, whew, that's hot. That'll cook a little bit better. Next is the HotPot, the advanced panel cooker. Not quite there. Starting to roast up a little bit better on the edges. Okay. Next we have the GoSun oven. Big burst of heat heads out as we open up, going into the center. Not quite there. Hitting up the edges a little bit better. Cool. Okay, and the Fusion. That looks done. Here we are again. It's been 45 minutes and we're here to check our cornbread again. This is the Sunflair panel cooker. And on the exterior, temperatures are about 115. But when we unzip, the pot itself is about 160. And the delicious cornbread is hovering around 140. And our little check. Okay, 45 minutes. Not a ton of action, sitting there at about 140 degrees. Not the most powerful oven, not the best design. All right, moving on. The SolSource. The bread itself, definitely hot, roughly 150 degrees. And then on the bottom of the pan, we get a temperatures over 300. 340 max. That's because you got the sun all concentrating on the bottom of the pan there. So again, tough to cook with, but it's great if you're frying stuff. Obviously, that's done. Get out of there, stink bug. Come on, man. This stink bug is really enjoying this meal. And I think he's sun-dazzled. He will not leave. There he goes. And next is the HotPot. So on the exterior of the HotPot, we're in like 115, 120. As we open up, nice and hot burst there, almost up to 200 degrees. Food hovering around 135, and definitely not done. Not super impressed here. That is a shame that that's moving so slow. I guess, even the advanced panel cookers aren't great. Now moving over to the GoSun oven, I'm showing 140 degrees on the exterior. That's definitely hot to touch. Now on the inside, we're over 230. The food itself is looking at about 180. That should be done. Let's see how the toothpick test looks. Yeah, I mean, it's more or less done. It's still got it's still a little sticky. So that's like a al dente version of cornbread. Okay, moving on to the GoSun Fusion. On the exterior, it's reading like 100 max. So it's not hot at all on the exterior. And then on the interior, it's over 200 degrees. That's the bread itself. The oven itself might be over that, but the moisture of the bread really kind of predicates what's happening. And that's definitely done. So we'll let that keep going, staying nice and juicy and moist. And finally, we're shooting the GoSun Sport. On the exterior, it's more like 90. And as we open up, we've got some sizzle, pushed around 250 on the bread itself. And again, temperatures inside each of these ovens is higher than what we would read here. We're just really pointing this at the food itself. And the food is going to read a lower temperature than the ambient air that's warming the food up, because the food's got its moisture and all that. Okay, it's been an hour and a half. We've got some intermittent clouds coming by, more of a real life scenario. And looking at the Sunflair, 130 on the outside. I hope this is done. The pot itself, 175. The meal itself, 155. And the toothpick test, nope, still not there. Not there. Oh well, it's a panel cooker. What do you expect? I mean, this thing's made out of nylon and some kind of piece of vinyl and a little bit of EPE padding. So very, very simple and very slow. Moving over to the HotPot, the exterior is about 118 Fahrenheit. The food is reading about 155. Doesn't look like it's done. Still pretty gooey. Getting a little bit crispier on the exterior. This is another surprising reality of this oven, is that you really aren't cooking evenly at all here. All right, keep going, HotPot. Right, we're at 160 on the exterior of the Sun oven. You can see that the water vapor is starting to block a lot of sunshine also. There's probably a fair amount of heat trapped inside. It looks like the temperature gauge is reading around 250. This glass is very hot. Ouch. Ooh, this is looking done. That's over 200 degrees and it's starting to get a little brown. Yep, that's definitely done. We determined that already. But that's exciting to see that this is really starting to roast. These guys, you know, they do a good job as long as you don't have a cool day, a windy day, or a very cloudy day. Okay, now we're over at the Fusion. You're seeing everything post-cook, and you do get a sense of the fact that it has some inconsistencies right here at the beginning. The first inch or two of the meal isn't the same temperature as the rest of the meal. And finally, the Sport. This one's the most exciting, always hot. There's 275. Again, a little bit of undercooked at the very mouth. That's more like a ½ an inch worth. And then just crispy, toasty on in there. Okay. Okay, it's been over 2 hours in our cornbread cooking experiment, and we're gonna do our final check. If things aren't done now, we're starting to lose our sun around behind some trees. Again, today's October 20th. It was an 80-degree day, and we cooked in 6 solar ovens with a cornbread mix, and we're just doing our final checks to see how everything turned out. So. Ooh, yeah, this is maybe done. I'd say that's really close. It's going to be a little al dente. This is the Sunflair panel cooker. After about 2.5 hours, there you have it, folks. Still a little juicy. The temperature's of about 140 degrees. Okay? 100 degrees on this. That one did get lucky with some bright sun at the beginning of the cook-off, and it made that meal in about a ½ hour. Next, moving over to the HotPot. It's reading about 100 degrees on the outside, 130 on the inside, and it looks a little less done, probably a little less done than what we saw out of the Sunflair. Again, one thing I noticed here is that it's a little more cooked on the outside and less cooked in the center. Moving over to a Sun oven, an advanced box cooker. You're looking at about 160 degrees on this guy, and this would be pretty yummy. That's definitely cooked. And again, you know, this guy already got the job done. I think it took about 45 minutes to an hour to make that meal in the Sun oven box cooker. Moving over to GoSun Fusion, cool on the outside and piping hot on the inside still, couple 100 degrees. Not very burnt on the bottom. Again, this is all just an experiment to give you guys a sense of how these things cook. Finally, the GoSun Sport. The Sport is roasting at about 260, 270 still, thoroughly cooked, and we're right at the border before this thing is just destroying everything in its path. Okay, in conclusion today, just let's see how these ovens ranked with respect to speed. The GoSun Sport finished the meal in 15 minutes. The SolSource Parabolic Dish cooker took about a ½ an hour to, it sort of burned the meal on the bottom, but it was more or less cooked on the top. At about a ½ an hour, the Fusion was also complete with this cornbread meal. In about an hour or so, the Sun oven came in 4th place, and then the panel cookers, they unfortunately did not cook the meal in about 2.5 hours time, so we gave up on them. There you have it. Thanks for watching.